guessing that is a dead battery. Yeah. It's been a little bit of a while, but it's finally time to take the R8 for a drive. It's been a little bit neglected. It's needs a little bit dirty, so we should maybe start with a wash before we go into the theme of the day. We're doing some mods to the interior, but yeah, let's start by jumping into the car. Let's see if we can pull it out so that we can actually get some space to work on it. And put it up to the garage, give it a good wash. Yeah, it's time to some service. Okay, so after we actually checked the battery, it seems that it's completely dead. It's showing some fault codes to actually have some broken cells on the battery, which means it will need a new battery. Unfortunately, the batteries for the R8 are super big. They're also quite expensive. They're 4 times more than what I needed to pay for a battery for the Caddy. 8 times more than the Twizy starting batteries. But yeah, not much to do. So yeah, let's rip the old one out. I already got and already went and picked up a new battery. So yeah, it's not as easy as you think to do that on an R8, unfortunately. So on the R8, the battery, of course, first and foremost, is in the front of the car. Remember here, if you actually do get a bad battery, make sure you swap it out before it goes completely flat, because if it does that, you need to find like a tiny little wire inside of the car, and you need to like pull that to be able to access the trunk. But here's where the not so fun part starts. So yeah, as you see, there's a lot of plastic panels. This whole thing is huge, but on the Porsche you have a little lid here to find the battery, but it is not that easy on the R8, unfortunately. So on the R8, first and foremost, you just have this big trunk, right? But you have this little thing here that you pull open. That's your battery, but it won't go through there, and there's no opening. So what we need to do is we need to take this whole piece here out of the car to be able to access the battery. It just means that we first need to take all of these plastic pieces out before we can access the whole trunk piece. First step is just removing or untapping all of these pins. They look like screws, but you essentially just twist them. It unlatches all of these. So you'll have 2 in the front. You'll also have on the sides, a couple of them actually up here around this whole thing. From what I understand, we actually don't need to remove all the plastic pieces. We need to remove all of this. We need to remove the sort of the weather stripping so that we can get this over the edge. You can almost see it here that it's almost over the edge already. Yeah, so we can get that over the edge, and once we have it over the edge, that's when we can actually lift it out. So I'm gonna start by just emptying this on all the stuff that is in. If you look at the battery, it actually looks quite dirty. It looks old, so you can kind of understand why this is time to replace it. So I'm gonna start by taking off all the screws. There's just a flat screw driver thingy. So essentially it's all of these around here. A couple of tools you want to have is you want to have that flathead. You will also want to have, because you are going to do a bit of prying, so a good set of prying tools is always neat to have. We'll get good use of those. But yeah, so from what I can understand now, it's all about just actually using one of those prying tools and getting deeper into the car setup. Maybe we'll do something a little bit more, I don't know, not so heavy on the car as a start. We'll just do this little bad boy. And I think we should start by prying this one. Actually, you don't need to pry it. It sits very loose. Once you remove this one, there are 2 Torx here that holds the whole tub in place. But we'll keep these safe. As always, plastic panels on these cars are expensive. Now, as I understand it, we can give this a little bit of a wiggle, and hopefully, yeah, it will also come loose. Oh, actually, I missed one here. So yeah, good one. Always make sure that you check so that you don't miss one. I have one here, but there's actually one out here, and I can actually see there's one up here. So don't be too stressed when you do this, I guess. It's pro tip. So yeah, let's do these 2 out ones here as well. But as we talked about, you will not need to remove all of those panels. You just need to loosen them. So yeah, now you can see, yeah, that one's come off. Do the same on this side. Yeah, that one's loose. So now what we can do, right, is we have the, I don't even know if we need to remove the weather seal. Maybe we do. Just saw some guy that said that it's a good idea. We'll see. So now this piece up here, it sits a little bit more tight. We need to use a little bit more, I wouldn't say brute force. Yeah. So up here, this little bad boy, it's actually quite loose. We'll try to not break these, as I guess they are a bit expensive. So, you know what? 2 more tiny screws, and we can just remove it. So I guess we'll have that one there. Yeah. Is that? Yeah. Look there. And now the R8 panel. So we have that one, and then I'm guessing, so we've done that side, we will just do the same even on this side. We can just pop that out. Is this, always wonder, is this really a good idea? And that will slide right out. Maybe this is how we build a lighter R8. Just keep all of these stuff. So while you're actually here, this is a good time for you to inspect. There are 2 brackets in here, or 2 mounting points, where the front piece of the car is actually welded into the middle one. It's a known problem that some of these early R8s especially do crack there. And if they crack, well, no fun at all. The big reason you might ask yourself, like, why do we keep this big plastic piece? And that's actually because the wipers are mounted through that. There's no way to unlatch that, as I understand, without actually dismounting the wipers. That we don't want to do, because they also come with all of the pieces and springs and other stuff that we simply don't want. So instead, we're going to loosen the tub, and then yeah, we're gonna try to get it out. So as always, you want to have the right tools for this. So what I figured out is, some people in the internet will say this is a Torx 20. No way. It's a Torx 30. See, 30. So make sure you have a 30. It's not always in some of these kits unless you get a little bit of a big one. So Torx 30, and you want to have some kind of wrenching tool, because they sit quite tight, especially on this one that I have a couple of age or years on its under its belt. They're not that tight, but they're also not super loose. So not going to break our backs just using that one. We'll also use, of course, the screwdriver to just get these bad boys out. This would have been a good time to actually make sure that we would have replaced the hardware for some fresh ones. I can't imagine that these screws are any like expensive from Audi to get. So with everything now removed in terms of the plastic covers and everything, and these two screws, you can now actually start to see this whole tub here is actually loose. So now all we need to do is make sure that it actually goes like that, it doesn't break this one, and that we can actually lift it out. So what I think we need to do is, that's not very nice. So after giving this a little bit of thought, it actually looks like the best thing we can do is remove this piece. So popped off these little plastic caps that sits on top, and it looks like we just need what's actually a 13 key, and we will just remove these, and yeah, I think that is the best thing we can do. So it's not the easiest, but I managed to get the left wiper off. So apparently you need something that's called a wiper spanner that sort of goes in as like a fork underneath and then pushes in to lift out the actual wiper. So you'll see the wiper side had these tracks that makes it, and it's formed as a cone. That means when it pushes down, it doesn't slip, which makes a lot of sense, but I've never dismounted any of these before. I've done the ones with, let's make sure they don't slip by having a big spring. First time doing these, took me a good time to figure that out. What I ended up doing, I actually found a guy on the internet that told me you use a 19 spanner like this, put the bolt on the top, and this one underneath. Just put that like underneath like that, and then the bolt on the top, and you twist, and it goes loose. Makes a lot of sense. Should have started by doing that, but there's no way you can fit a 19 spanner on the right one. So that one is there, but it allowed me to loosen this enough so that I can get it around and actually force it a little bit underneath on this side. So now, so you see this light here, there's a 12-volt socket. I think we're lucky. So it seems like the connection is actually here before this. So maybe we can actually just, before we try to get it out, we actually just try to release that one. So it shows that it's actually just a push and pull thing, so it's loose. So now we should be able to just lift the whole tub out. We should maybe spend some time cleaning it as well, but now with that out of the way, which I'm guessing you can most likely find a Lamborghini badge on, because this also adapts if you have the Gallardo, the modern R8, and I think potentially even the Huracans to have the battery in the same place. But yeah, let's take a look inside. So this is how a naked R8 looks with the tub gone. You kind of understand why the trunk space is that small. There's a lot of stuff here. I'm guessing this is some AC stuff. I'm actually surprised about the amount of Audi stuff here. You can also get an understanding of maybe why this battery. It's most likely pretty old, if ever replaced, to be honest. These will, I mean, live for a very long time if you do sort of treat them correctly. It's very dirty in here, but here you can see the crash beams. This one over here. So it looks very sound. It just looks dirty. It doesn't look in any way that there's been in any accident. Like, I never thought that either, but you never know with these cars, right? So it's just, I mean, it looks good. What we'll do now is we will dismount the battery. So how that goes is there's two mounts up here. So you'll see this mount here. There's another, no, there's actually just one mount on this side there. And then we have this one down here, right? So this one also looks a little bit rust stuff. How you see? I mean, look at this. Maybe we can actually find something inside of this and see if this is the original one. Let's see, this one there. But we will start by disconnecting those, then we'll disconnect the battery, lift that out. Yeah, and then we'll need to mount a new one, of course. So we now got the battery out. One more tool to add to the list. You're gonna need a Torx, focus on this one, Torx 40 I used. I think it actually could be good to have an even bigger one if you do have, but but you need that one because this bracket here uses, as you can see, quite a big torque. But don't get fooled of like what I tried to like unscrew this all the screws, but essentially this just slides up and down. So once you unmounted on the screws, you can just pull it up, tighten one of the screws a little bit, it stays there, and the battery can easily slide out. This one though, I mean, you need to remove it, and you can remove all the dirt. I mean, as you see, the battery's out. It sits here now. It's, I mean, it's, this one is, I don't even know, like, there's an info here. Is there anything that will tell us? Can we find anything about how old this is, maybe? I'm just saying, well, here we go. Issued December 2008. So yeah, this seems to be the original battery. It came with the car. Maybe. At least, I mean, it's not impossible. So we now have the new battery in. Yeah, for those of you who can see, yes, it's from Biltema. Not the best, but still, the battery's same spec, everything as the old junk, just 17, 16 years or so newer. So yeah, we're now gonna just connect this up. Then we need to mount everything back up together, and hopefully she's back on the road again and we can go and clean her. Everything is now put back together. I didn't show you because it's essentially just me doing everything backwards as we did mounting it. Battery's in, everything looks good. The stereo even started up instantly and you could hear all the mechanics going on. So most likely it just works. But the only thing we have now left to do is, of course, just starting it up and making sure that it does work. So let's see. Everything looks good. It actually seems to have been turning its interior stuff earlier. Well, let's see. Running not fully, maybe it should, but it at least runs. Almost need to just like bring it back here to show you this. So, I mean, it sounds quite good. So what we'll see here, see, we need to close the door, I think. So now everything seems good. Let's see if we can actually go back here. Yeah, I don't know if you see this. So the car is now back in German. I have no clue how to do this. Is everything else also in German? I don't know. Now it seems at least that the stereo is in Swedish. Everything else seems to be working. It actually signals that we don't have any stability control, but that's quite normal once we actually do run through this. But I'm not fully sure about what's going on here now, because the thing is this, that this car have a aftermarket audio upgrade, or whatever you would say, that is a Bluetooth thing that sits behind the stereo. That is also connected, the old owner told me, to take over the steering wheel controls, so that you can actually change the radio station or change other things with the steering wheel. Something now seems to be potentially, it seems to potentially be an issue, right? Because now the car thinks it's German, and these little buttons here that should give me access to those menus, I think,
Apple.
does not work. It tells me something else instead. Well, we'll figure that out. It won't be an issue, but now it runs. It's in silent mode though, so yeah, but it runs. It didn't start that smooth, but now it runs smooth. It's keeping 900 RPMs. We won't do any roads or anything else like. But I mean, now it's back to how it used to, or how it's supposed to be. So you might wonder what we were actually going to do, and this was one of them. The R8 is 17 years old now, so the steering wheel was not the best shape. Not broken, it has a little bit wear and tear of the age, and especially being quite an old car. But instead, I've got this. It's one of the steering wheels that came with the last of the R8s of this era. It's the sports steering wheel that could be sort of optioned out on the later models. It's come with perforated leather. I've also had this fully refurbished because it had a little bit of small dents. That's why I could also get it quite so cheap. It was actually just refurbished and everything. It's about $550, $600, something like that. It does come with the S-line trim. So we're going to replace this, put the one from the OEM or original steering wheel. This is an OEM as well, but the original steering wheel back on here, so it says R8 instead of S-line. But I don't know if the camera picks it up. It is quite a nice shape, and it's completely matte, fully optioned out. This is just one of the mods we're doing to interior to freshen up the style, make it a little bit more of ours. It's a little bit smaller as well than the original one, but all of that in the next one. So that is it. We're supposed to clean the car, take it out for a ride, but it did not really work out as planned. At least now it runs again. It's a little bit too late. I don't know if the camera picks it up. It's almost 12 or 10:30 here in Sweden. It's just in the middle of the summer, so it's still light outside, but it's a little bit too late to wash the car. But at least now it drives, so tomorrow or the next day we can actually just take this out back again for a spin. It's been sitting way too long, but now at least it has a fresh battery. Everything should then run perfectly. We can run it in a bit, and then we're gonna take it to service, put this back on the road, and do some more content with it. It's been just sitting since I used it all over the winter, but now since the Porsche has been back, that has been my main driver. But now that is not really functioning, as we're doing a lot of them engine mods. So until then, this is going to be the toy. But yeah, thank you for watching, and hopefully you learned a couple of things about how to swap your battery on your R8 if you happen to have to do that. And once again, it's going to be exactly the same steps if you have a Gallardo. These plastic things here in the front, they might be different, but the whole thing about like that you need to remove all that stuff to get to the battery is going to be the same. It's also most likely going to be the same battery if you would peel off the stickers, but this one managed a lot of time on that original battery. But so yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.